Hello, and welcome to today's online discussion. I'm Erica Holloway, National Spokesperson for the Speaker Education Project, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization dedicated to educating the public on the role of the Speaker of the House. Joining me today in Virginia's 5th District is Jeff Clark. He's running for Congress. Thank you for joining us today, Jeff.
It's a pleasure to be here, Erica. Thank you.
We are going to be talking, first of all, about the issue that we're here to discuss, which is the Speaker of the House. As you're aware, the Speaker of the House holds an important and vital office in setting the national legislative agenda. Who do you think would best lead the House starting in 2011, and why?
Well, I think that whoever leads the House in 2011 certainly will come from whichever party wins majority control. That's kind of how things have developed. I think that maybe that's a shame. I think maybe some people would like to see someone outside of the House maybe assume the speakership, but I don't think that history is in our favor there. But I think that whoever assumes the speakership is going to have to be very strong. And I think that for the national mood, they're going to have to be someone outside of the mainstream or someone so dedicated to party politics. And personally, for my taste, I really appreciate the work that Michelle Bachmann has done. I think she's shown herself to be a leader in organizing and implementing the Tea Party caucus in the House. And if this isn't strictly based on seniority and who've paid their dues to the party, I think Michelle Bachmann would make a fine Speaker of the House.
Given the political agenda of the last couple of years, we're hearing a lot about the economy as candidates are making the rounds on the campaign trail. Should that be the first order of business for the next speaker? I mean, if this is going to be Michelle Bachmann, the person that you just mentioned, do you think that should be the first order of business for her?
Oh, without question. I think the economy is the most important thing on people's minds. Here in our district, in the 5th District, in the southern portion of the district, we have very high unemployment, and it's been in effect for several years. And I think that people are looking to Washington, I don't think for necessarily the solutions, but for Washington to say, well, hold on, maybe we need to step back, reduce some of this regulation, reduce the tax burden, and allow small businesses to do what they do best, and that's generate income and put people back to work. And I think that if we start there, we can begin to see a change. We can begin to see a movement in a positive direction for the economy. And I think it's all going to hinge on what role or how the new government sees their role in the formation or in bettering the economy. Are they dedicated to really letting the free market system work, or are they going to try to put a planned economy in place that's simply a lighter version of what the Democratic Party was trying to do? And I think that it's definitely going to be crucial, and without question will be the first order of business, because if not, if the economy hasn't improved by 2012, I think the writing's on the wall. Whichever party is in control probably won't have control once 2012 hits.
And in dealing with the economy and being the biggest issue that people are talking about, jobs creation, foreclosures, some of the ideas that they've had out there has been, maybe expanding the stimulus funding, and then other people say rolling back the tax cuts. Other people say expanding, and extending those tax cuts. So with the divergence of ideas that are going on about how to address the economy, how do you think the speaker could possibly bridge that gap, that ideological gap between the House and the White House? Should there be a more partnership relationship between the speaker and the president, do you think?
Well, certainly there has to be a good working relationship, but traditionally, if an opposing party Speaker of the House is in power, generally it's expected that they're going to stand in opposition to the president. This is not a time for people to be ideologically polarized. It's going to take good work, good ideas on both sides of the aisle in order to make these things work. And you hear people saying repealing the tax cuts. Listen, no matter how you word that, it is a tax increase on the American people. And right now, there are many businesses that are small businesses that are teetering on survival. If any additional burden is placed upon them, you'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of more businesses close their doors, resulting in hundreds of thousands of additional people being out of work. And that's not something that our economy can handle right now. It's in a very fragile state, and we need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to put Americans back to work, get our feet on solid ground, and start to allow these things to move forward. Oftentimes with planned economies and centralized systems that are trying to be implemented in Washington right now, what you have is a prolonged effect on a recession, or you have a generation of a double dip recession, and I think we're seeing evidence of that now. And what people have to do, and if it's the Speaker of the House, whoever that may be, they're going to have to come in and really let everyone know this is not about butting heads on political ideology. This is about putting people back to work and allowing our businesses to do what they do best. And, right now, it's my personal opinion that raising taxes is not the way to go. I think that we need to allow the system to kind of balance itself out. We can keep putting foreclosures off. We can keep prolonging these things, but the longer we keep prolonging it, it's just extending the misery. And sometimes it's kind of like a Band-Aid. It's just better let's rip that Band-Aid off. We're going to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps. We're going to make ourselves right again, and the economy will eventually recover. And we need to make sure that we're doing that and not doing anything to hinder it.
Moving on from the economy, there's been a lot of programs that have been addressed in the last year. There's been the healthcare bill. There's been the education bill. What do you see out there while you're campaigning as being some of the other top concerns on people's minds that they'd like to see addressed? Do you think that repealing the healthcare bill is something that's on people's minds? Do they think that it should stay in place? What are some of the other things that you think need to be addressed in 2011?
Well, I think that without question, the health care bill in its current incarnation is going to have to be severely altered. Really, it's a bill that doesn't suit or doesn't sit well with the American people. And I think there are good things in the bill, and we need to take those good things in the bill, make sure that we include them in whatever legislation that we move forward, make sure they don't get left out, but really true and honest healthcare reform, the very cornerstone of that reform, we have to consider tort reform, and we didn't include that anywhere in the legislation. And I think what you see is people that are concerned, and I think what people are concerned with out there is they're just left scratching their heads. They don't know. They see this fiscal irresponsibility on the part of their representatives, and they can't quite see how these people reason the way they do. Let's take that the education bill that was passed. The education bill was passed, and everybody was patting themselves on the back that this program is paid for. In 2014, we're going to cut $6 million from food stamps. We're going to close this loophole. We're going to do this. I like to refer to it as the wimpy system of financial responsibility. I will gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger today. And that's basically what the Democratic Party did. I'll gladly pay you in 2016 for something you say is a paid health care bill today. And it is funny, it's comical, but this is the disconnect between average everyday Americans and how we have to govern our lives and our pocketbooks and deal with our family and businesses, and in how these guys do business up there. Our lives would be much easier if we could just go through life doing that. Oh yeah, I mean, does anyone really believe that in 2014, which will be an election year, that the Democratic Party is going to be looking to cut food stamps by millions, if not billions of dollars? No, that's not going to happen. There'll be additional justification why that program has to be extended. And what people are looking for is honest solutions. Let's deal with ourselves honestly. If we handle things this way at home, we can do that on a larger level. It may not be exactly the same, but we can institute the same type of responsibility. We can say if you don't have the money, we can't do it. And right now, our country is broke. I mean, what are we doing? Literally, for that education bill, who funded it? The Chinese funded our education bill, and other countries, and that's a shame. And I think that's what's making people nervous. They see this, and the American people see it's unsustainable. You want small businesses to pause and not do anything? give them an environment of uncertainty, and you will bring them to an absolute dead stop on hiring, expanding, even launching marketing programs, because they just don't know what's coming down the pipe. They don't know how many people they're going to have, and they don't feel like they can thoroughly plan their agenda for the upcoming year until they know what's in place.
And speaking of the agenda and what's going to be discussed, we still have things that are on the plate for this legislative year. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has laid out a very aggressive legislative agenda for the lame duck session in November. What are your thoughts on that, Jeff? When that's a possibility, and you've already said that we've dealt with some pretty extremism because of having a supermajority, the presidents of the same party. What kind of action could the public actually enact in order to address that situation?
Well, I think that the public is going to have a difficult time enacting or influencing anything that this supermajority is going to want to try to implement. And I think that we're going to see a lot of push towards more socialist-like programs in our country based on that. And people say, well, socialist, it's a bad word. And what I tell people is this: it's what makes a person a socialist. Is it where they were born? Is it what they wear? Is it how they speak? No, it's a political philosophy. And if you adopt, if you enact, and if you practice those political philosophies, then you are enacting a socialist type of agenda. And I think that really bothers most Americans. And I think that a lot of us are going to be sitting back kind of holding our breath and saying, man, what can happen in these coming months? What programs are we going to see come down the pipe? And the other thing is, I don't think many of us have confidence in the Republican Party, if they gain control, that they're going to be busy reversing all of these failed policies or disliked policies of the Democratic Party. I think what you're going to see is what we always see in Washington: special interest groups coming in, padding the pockets of the representatives, keeping the programs they want. And it is a political nightmare to try to take things away from the American people once they've been given. And I think that unless we have strong leadership, and that's going to be a primary point for the Speaker of the House, who can get in there, lay out an agenda to reverse some of these things, we could be headed for even more uncertainty just in the months that span the election until these new congressmen are sworn in.
Well, Jeff, you've given me some, and I think all of us, a lot of food for thought. Those are some good points that you've made today. I want to thank you for joining us and taking time out of the campaign trail in Virginia's 5th District, and we wish you much luck.
Oh, well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate it.
I'm Erica Holloway, National Spokesperson for the Speaker Education Project. To learn more about us, visit us online at thespeakereducationproject.com and be sure to cast your vote for the House Speaker. Thank you for joining us.